Love, it has been good to me this time around. Things were ever bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is now intact and I can find no rest. This is love, yeah, love. Never known true love before. Seen so many counterfeits that left me on the floor. This is love, yeah, love. All will come to those who wait. Time it cannot know the bounds, and eras don't dictate. Oh, yes, sir. Well, good evening and welcome to today's episode of the Xrad Show, the talk show that does indeed get you talking on the Xander Network, live from New York City. I'm Xander Gibb.
And I'm Chet Martin from Freedom on Deck.
Oh, yes, sir. On tonight's show, the very hottest of topics. And in part two, our Israeli correspondent David Weissman joins us. More to come in a mere moment. So you can interact with us during the show. You can tweet us. The tweet dates are on the Xrad Facebook show page for today. You can comment in the feed, which is around the live video, and we will endeavor to involve you in the conversation. What else can you do? You'll be able to call us later on via Facebook Live. We'll tell you when that is a possibility. Welcome back to the show. My guest co-host in for a swoop, Chet Martin from Freedom on Deck. Welcome back to the show, sir. How is the world with you?
Well, the world's fine with me. You know, all the drama today through this hearing and coming on with you tonight. You know, it's a big night. It's a big night. It's a big night for me to be on with you. And
Absolutely.
I love having nights like that with you where something big happens, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And it's really cool because all the people that I can interact in the live feed and also being on the phone with you and being able to see what they're saying, it's really an original show that you have. I have to tell you that.
Thank you.
The last few nights have been interesting. Last night we had a troll that came on and everybody was kind of ganging up on him and what he was saying didn't make any sense and we were kind of going through it in the feed with all my friends. And the night before that it was Margaret who had gotten everybody up in arms and you know it was. You know, like I told you, I said, hey, man, you know, sometimes that's what you need. You need somebody to poke the bear in order to get discussions going.
Shh, don't tell people that I'm a bear. That was a secret.
By the proverbial bear,
yes.
Everyone I meant the show in general. You know
I know you did. But, you know, I wasn't sure how today was going to go because we've seen with the mainstream media how they want to poison people against Donald Trump. You know, and it's interesting. I was actually thinking today how stupid you must be to still believe that Donald Trump is that guy that was on the Celebrity, whatever it's called, Apprentice, that says you're fired, and you know, and says nasty things to people. If you don't realize by now that that was a character, how stupid does that make you? But on a secondary tier to that, for me, on a stupidity level, it's very sad that there are a lot of people in this country that are, you know, really very stupid. That there are still people out there that think that just because, you know, senior people in our government say things that they're actually true, and that because certain news outlets say certain things that they're true too. Because we have to be aware by now that in 2017 that the media is basically a paid circus that bows to whoever will pay them the most money. Not us, obviously, because we're independent and we say what we feel. But sadly, I would say practically all media, unless it's independent, is biased because they'll bow to the bias of whoever's paying the bill.
promulgates the idea that all people need is food and fornication, and they throw out the steadfast conservative values of religious beliefs, and that's where we've gone down in this rabbit hole. I believe that. When we see Barack Obama today, he's over in Canada speaking to the global warming gangsters, is what I would call them, and he's talking about the 1%, and he says they feel backed up against the wall. Xander, he just got a book deal worth $70 million.
Wow.
Not 7 million, not 7, put a zero after it, $70 million. And you're telling me that the American people are supposed to believe that guy is against the 1%? Who is he speaking to when he's speaking against the 1%, I want to know?
Well, clearly Canada has a lot of stupid people too. If you are listening in Canada, I'm not saying that to be offensive, because if you're listening to the show, you're obviously not stupid. But if you consider yourself to have a brain in your head, and you're not questioning everything that is put out there, then that's a worry for me, because none of us should be just towing the party line. We should be questioning everything, but even more so when you actually consider who's saying something, or the source, or the direction that something is coming from. If you don't consider that before you judge how true it could be, because that's how this show started. This show started like 5 or 6 years ago, because I was sick to death of the mainstream media saying one thing, and then I would find that I did a bit of research, and I would find that it wasn't true. And it was frightening how many stories were out there that were just shared from the perspective of who was paying the bill. And that's how this show started, in order to kind of redress the balance, because I think that in America we deserve better. We actually deserve the truth. And what you do with the truth is up to you.
Well, before we get deep into James Comey, I just wanted to ask you this question. Did you see CNN setting up in New York City a fake news story where they put a bunch of Muslims on the corner, and they basically gave everybody, and I guess it was supposed to be that rally against Donald Trump at the Trump Tower. They gave everybody signs. There's a video of it where they're orchestrating this story and creating it. It's unbelievable to me that actually happens. And yeah, it gets covered in social media, and I guess Fox News touched on it a little bit. But, people are still watching CNN.
Yeah.
Why would you watch that garbage after that happens? I want to know.
Yeah, well, I can't answer that. I did see that video. But obviously there are some people out there that are stupid enough to think that was set up by the right. The Republicans obviously set that up in order to make Democrats.
Really?
Yeah, they did. And to think that that's what they honestly feel is worrying. It really is worrying that in 2017, people think that that's all Republicans have got to do, apart from making a difference in this green and pleasant land, to set up fake situations like that. It's not something that we do. I just want to pause for 1 second, because I want to say hello to everybody in the live feed, because I know how lonesome they feel when we don't mention them. Hey to Leonard over there in the UK. Maybe you can tell us, Leonard, if you were aware what the result of the election was, because the election in the UK was tonight, and let's hope it was a positive result. Hi to Gina. Good evening to Chet, who's on the line with us obviously as well. Hi to Zal. Welcome. I thought he said he'd been running, but he says he's running late. Hey to David Weissman, who's our guest in part 2. Hey to Martha. Hi to Mark. Welcome to the show. Hi to Mel over there, our Melly Pups over there in the UK. Hi to Eileen. Hope you're doing well. I know you've not been well. Feel better soon. Hello to Joan, welcome, and hi to all of you out there that are actually watching but are not in the live feed. Come and join us. We don't bite, and you can share your opinions with us, and we won't hate you if you have a different opinion, as long as your name's not Hillary. Did I just say that?
Yes, you did.
I did. I did. So I want to jump right in because, as we've already alluded to, that today was the FBI circus that they called an investigation. And I don't think it could have gone better for America. You know, they say the truth shall set you free and you shall be free indeed. And today I'm just hoping that the Donald, aka President Trump, is sitting there tonight with the biggest steak ever, with his bottle of ketchup. And, you know, if you haven't got any ketchup, President Trump, you can have some of mine. And also that he's getting 3 scoops of ice cream tonight, because I really think he deserves it, because there was such a level of vindication for this man today, even if the Democrats wanted to take that away. But I want to we'll concentrate on Mr. Trump's victory later in the show. But I want to focus on Comey, who I want to remind you was the director of the FBI for quite a long period of time, had a very important job. And some of his commentary today was just so unprofessional, saying things like, about make sure it gets out there. Former FBI Director James Comey told a close friend, a Columbia law professor, as he gave him copies of his memos detailing his one-on-one interactions with President Trump, according to Comey's testimony this morning before the Senate Intelligence Committee. So let me stop for 1 second. This is the director of the FBI giving classified information to legal friends who are passing that to the media. That's treason in my book. So Comey believed the publication of the memos might prompt the appointment of a special prosecutor to pursue the investigation into Russian penetration of American political system and contacts with the Trump campaign, obviously all alleged. So he bypassed protocol, committed a treasonous act to find out if treason had occurred. So I'm scratching my head, but we'll carry on. The memos were Comey's own accounts of his conversations with Mr. Trump in the months before the president quite rightly fired his 6'8" tall bony ass as the head of the bureau. Now, the friend who was called Daniel Richmond, who did not respond to requests for comment, confirmed to CNN that he shared Comey's memos with the press. Richmond's biography states that he is an advisor to Comey. After Comey's May 9th firing, the president tweeted that Comey better hope that there are no tapes of their conversations before he starts leaking to the press. Now, the White House has refused to say whether such tapes actually exist, but hours after the Trump tweets, Comey testified he awakened in the middle of the night with the thought he needed to get his version of events before the public and made plans to release the memos. I smell a book deal. Lordy, I hope there are tapes, Comey said today in expectation that they could corroborate his own recollections, in parentheses. Comey said he asked his friend to share the details of the conversation in the Oval Office, which, as a private citizen, he said he felt free to share that. But surely, if you've learned the information while you're a director of the FBI, that is really subject to confidentiality. I thought it very important to get it out. Oh, did you, Mr. Comey? He turned his copies of the memos over to special counsel Robert Mueller. He said that he is unsure whether his friend who shared the memos with the press still has the documents. So before I come to you, because I'm sure you're chomping at the bit, Chet, let's just get this into context. They're investigating the president for possible wrongdoing. The FBI ex-director is admitting to wrongdoing and admitting that he covered up for Hillary and that he was told to cover up for Hillary by Loretta Lynch, but Donald Trump is the bad guy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he exposed himself today. It was a very good day for Donald Trump.
It was.
And his supporters. And what we saw was this was not just a investigation into Donald Trump. It was to smear the Trump voters. That's what this was all about.
Yes.
I mean, when he keeps saying that he can't answer in an open hearing, but he could answer in a closed hearing. He said that multiple times, Xander. But some of the biggest answers that I got for James Comey was when Richard Burr asked Comey if Donald Trump ever asked him to stop the Russian probe, and his answer was no. He said, did any other member of the administration ask him to stop the probe, and his answer was no.
Right.
He also was asked if Russian government hacked the DNC, to which he answered yes. Okay. He asked if any votes were changed on the ballots because of the Russian hacking, which he answered no.
Right.
Okay, so you're going through all this and you're starting to realize that there's really nothing there. I mean, what I saw was he said, well, Donald Trump lied on the reasons that he fired me. Well, no, Donald Trump can change his mind, Mr. Comey. And, you know, there are also multiple reasons to fire you. One of them is that you suck at your job.
Yeah.
Okay? And that you're a snowflake. Because even the Queen of Diamonds, Dianne Feinstein, who I look at the lowest regard on the totem pole, she asked him, Mr. Comey, why wouldn't you tell Mr. Trump that you shouldn't be having this discussion? You know what his answer was, Xander?
No.
Maybe I'm not strong enough. Those were his words. We had a snowflake running the FBI, heading up the FBI, and if anybody watched this today, and I tried to as best I could when I wasn't working, but I couldn't watch all of it, but this guy's a lawyer, okay?
Yeah.
He's never had a good background in law enforcement, and that's what you get when you have a lawyer or an attorney basically running the FBI. Look at all the failures he's had under his term as the FBI, head of the FBI. Not a very good record.
No, definitely not. I mean, we talked about this a little earlier, and for me, James Comey's first responsibility was to the law, and to uphold the law, and then after that, the responsibility to the Trump administration was a secondary thing as far as I'm concerned, and I'm sure Mr. Trump would have agreed with that too. But how many examples do we need of how badly this guy messed up? It wasn't even messing up. It was blatant breaking the law. I mean, we're coming to see that the Obama administration was the most dishonest. Richard Nixon's family are so pleased about Obama because, they're actually able to kind of, walk around and not still feel bad about Nixon.
Right. But you were saying, what a bad record this guy has. Well, for me, the most egregious thing that James Comey ever did was when he was a part of the investigation into Solentra. You remember Solentra?
Yeah.
It was the solar company that took $500 million of the taxpayers' money and then went belly up. And who gave him that money? Barack Obama. Head of the FBI at the time was James Comey. James Comey's FBI went into the headquarters of Solentra. Everybody, I hope you're out there listening because you need to know this stuff. Went into the headquarters of Solentra, took all the documentation that Solentra had, all their files, brought it out, cleared them out. And the American people were saying to themselves, wow, great, hopefully we get to the bottom of these green gangsters. Well, nothing ever happened. You know what James Comey did? He gave no answers to it. He hid it. And to this day, we have no back of what happened to Solentra. Where did that money go? Why did James Comey go in, clear house, and never perform an investigation into that? Why? Because he's part of the dole. He loves Barack Obama. His brother is the head lawyer to the Clinton Foundation.
Right.
This guy's not a good guy, Xander.
It's all very bestial when you take a step back and look at it. It's all very bestial. And people have said to me, "Oh, Zan, the guy was probably scared that he was going to get fostered." And I'm like, this is the thing. If you're the head of the FBI and you are worried about being killed by people that you're potentially going to put in jail, you put them in jail and you put the people around them in jail as well. So they lose their circle of opportunity to redress whatever they feel has been done to them. But I think that this is the thing. I love this country and I'm patriotic. but it disappoints the hell out of me to think that for 40 years, the Clintons have run a crime syndicate under the banner of being politicians, and then have ripped everybody off from you and I, the taxpayer. You know, she lost $6 billion while she was Secretary of State. She ripped off the orphans. She ripped the Travelgate, Cattlegate. You know, the thing is that you can, the list is as long as your arm about the things that she's done, and you can say, oh, well, you know, maybe some of these things were just what people had said. But you see, the thing is that there are too many things and there are too many facts that people are not willing to pull together in order to stop these career criminals.
Well, and then, Xander, the liberals always say, well, stop going back to Hillary. What do you mean stop going back to her? Look at what Loretta Lynch went to Comey and said. Don't make this a criminal investigation.
Yeah.
I mean, she, you know, listen, we should investigate that, right? And it's funny that you tied in the Clintons to this and talked about Vince Foster. Don't forget, the last time an FBI director was fired, it was by Bill Clinton, and it was the day before Vince Foster was found dead. So where are these investigations? Why not open an investigation into the thousands of jihadists that basically slipped through the cracks under James Comey? Why haven't we opened an investigation into Obama's direct interference in meddling in foreign elections? Israel, just to name one. We can go down the line of tons of others. We see it, but this guy dropped the ball time and time again, and we're supposed to believe him now? Give me a break, bro.
I don't know. I'm just in awe that we've allowed this guy to do so much for so long. But I want to pause Comey for a second, and I want to talk about good old flip-flopper, Mr. Hero himself, John McCain. You know, was he drunk? Was he stoned? Is he senile? Is it all of the above? I mean, I'm sorry. I think sometimes, you know, term limits are a good thing, because what's happened with this guy, he's just slipped through the cracks. And anyone wants to tell you what a good guy he is because, you know, he's a war hero. You know, thank you for your service. I'm sorry you got captured. I'm sorry they messed up your arms. But you can't cash in on that for the rest of your freaking life. And people forget about how badly he treated his first wife. You know, he was off with the first, you know, millionaire's daughter he could find when he got back, and left his wife ill and sick and everything. You know, there is so much history out there with how wonderful these people are, but actually they're not. You know.
Well, not only that, Xander, but he was a puppet who let Obama in. Come on, we knew that guy wasn't going to win from the get. I mean, it was going to go down the line with what John McCain has done. He's an anti-American to me. He is. There's
totally
nothing wrong with the man. You look into his eyes; they're glazed over. It seems like he's on drugs. A lot of these people, it's something Michael Savage says all the time. He says these senators, Congress, and go throughout the line, they all need to be tested on a monthly basis. And I'd have to agree with him there. It's like, you know, you don't know what these guys are doing, and you don't know why they're so out there. But could it be drugs? I don't know. Maybe they're just sick with power. And I think that's what it is with John McCain. I think he's sick with power. I think he is 110% against Donald Trump for all the wrong reasons. And he should be behind our president, not against him. Supposedly, I saw Louis Rivera said he had actually a pro-Trump questioning today, and I don't know if that's true. I didn't see it. I saw Mr. Rubio, and I thought he did a great job.
Yes, me too.
You know, I think that I think this is all to do about nothing. What I saw from Comey was just a butthurt ex-lover to me. But McCain, stick a fork in McCain. He's done.
Yeah, exactly. You know, he needs to retire. And all these people were saying how wonderfully McCain did today. And it was like, for me, it was like, you know, his daughter was commenting. She blocked me a long time ago. But I'm like, when is Meghan McCain going to take her dad to get some, you know, Alzheimer's medication? Because the thing is that we don't want people running our country that are, you know, this kind of senile. But I want to take it a step further because, you know, I'm not, well, you know, sue me, but I just am worried at all the pictures there are of John McCain and George Soros. You know, what's going on with that relationship? And I wouldn't be surprised, I've said this for a long time, if some senior Republican officials are on the Soros payroll. It's already been proven that they've donated to the campaigns. Why is this globalist Democrat donating to senior Republican senators?
But John Kasich was on the George Soros payroll. He, like you said, I mean, well, not on the payroll, but with his campaign, it got funded by Soros. That wasn't that much money. I think it was $30,000. But, you know, you look at that name being tied into it and you say how much more was going in, you know? I mean, they have other ways of giving money. Obviously, George Soros has Media Matters and Democracy Now! I mean, he can funnel money into you any which way.
Black Lives Matter.
Through his name, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Black Lives Matter. He funds Black Lives Matter. He also puts ads on Craigslist and gets these people to go and demonstrate, in parentheses, dressed in black. And you know, they're not protesters. They're fascists.
Yeah. They're terrorists. George Soros funds Black Lives Matter. He funds La Raza. He funds CARE. He funds Antifa. And, you know, all those other radical groups that I talked about, like Democracy Now!, and there's, you know, we could go down a laundry list of other organizations that he runs. They're all part and parcel with that. You know, so, and it's not just here in America. That guy's global, Xander, but his biggest threat is Donald J. Trump.
But don't we need to appear to be above reproach? I would not be taking donations from George Soros. As, I just think you have to remain above reproach. And if you're taking donations from globalists that are trying to mess up our country, like George Soros, what does that say about where you're at?
Well, it says that you're part of the New World Order. That you're part and parcel in the same boat of Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. Aren't you John McCain?
Yeah.
Or aren't you John Kasich?
Exactly.
Yeah, you know, they can put an R in front of their name. Or they can put their name in front of the blue check. The red check. That doesn't mean anything to me. You know, it's because people are threatened that Donald J. Trump is going to change everything, Xander. If they thought that Donald J. Trump was going to be just like George W. Bush, which I've worried about, there have been a few times, you've heard me say it, with Kushner and these folks getting involved, and I think he should stay on the line of the Steve Bannon approach to politics, and I think he's kind of going back to that, pulling us out of the Paris Accord. That's what threatens them. They want to be part of this money-making machine, whether it means jihadists kill us or not, and Donald J. Trump is a threat to them.
Exactly. Now, talking of threats, I before David comes on, I want to talk for just a little minute about this person whose name is Reality Winner. First of all, why would you name your kid Reality when your last name is Winner? That's my first point. But while the charges do not name the publication, a U.S. official with knowledge of the case said Reality Winner was charged with leaking to the NSA report to The Intercept. A second official confirmed that The Intercept document was authentic and did not dispute the charges against Winner were directly tied to it. Now, The Intercept's reporting reveals new details behind the conclusion of U.S. intelligence agencies that Russian intelligence services were seeking to infiltrate state voter registration systems. So, they were trying to get George Soros out of the game, clearly, as part of a broader effort to interfere in the election, discredit Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton, loser, and did I just do that? And help then Republican candidate Donald Trump win the election. What a dream. The new material does not, however, suggest that the actual votes were manipulated. The Intercept co-founding editor Glenn Greenwald did not immediately respond to a request for a comment. Winter's mother also did not immediately respond to request for comment. Whilst partially redacted, the NSA document is marked to show it would be up for declassification on May 5th. 2042. Now, the indictment against Winner, she was indicted today, alleging she printed improperly removed classified intelligence reporting that it was dated on or about May 5th, 2017. Wait a minute, this is ringing bells for me because obviously she's not going to be covered under this two-tier justice system. Maybe she is. You know, our friend of the show, Christian Saucier, was jailed for six examples of mishandling classified information, but that was taking 6 selfies, not giving away classified documentation to journalists. Now, classified documents are typically due to be declassified after 25 years under an executive order signed by former President Bill Clinton. So I'm going to make a comment now, and I'm sure you're going to agree with this. Send the bitch to jail and let her rot.
Absolutely. I would go a step further than that, but you know, she's a turncoat, and you know what you do to turncoats in the United States of America.
Exactly. Well, you know,
sorry. I know it's a woman. I know she served in our Air Force.
Who cares?
I've seen statements out from her, Xander, about how much she hates America. Now, supposedly she speaks 7 different languages, and that's great. Supposedly she really backs the Palestinian government on their occupation of Israel and what they're fighting for. That's disturbing enough.
Yeah.
But, you know, this kind of brings me back to James Comey, and I don't want to go back there. I'm not doing that.
No, it's fine.
You know,
it's all very circular.
It was Comey that had his friends leak these memos to the New York Slimes. And this is kind of what she did. So what's the difference between what Miss Winner did, Reality Winner, funny name, and what James Comey did? What's the difference here?
Absolutely none. But you know, I know I keep harping on about it because, and it's because it bothers me so much. But you know, Chris Saucier, Navy veteran, took 6 selfies on a phone that were never disseminated and has served nearly a year in jail. Hillary Clinton walks free. Comey walks away smiling today, and I'm not so sure that this bitch Reality Winner. I'm sorry, I know some people probably be offended by me calling women a bitch. I wouldn't do that unless it was actually warranted. She might walk away too, and if she does, what does that say about American justice? We can imprison and let a veteran rot in jail for doing nothing. I mean, I'm sorry. Chris should have been given a slap on the wrist and a fine like everybody else that did that, and we would have never known who he was. But a year in jail, a year with ankle monitoring, and then after his release, because they've announced his release date. We'll talk about that in another show. But he's going to be on probation for a year. It's absolutely disgusting, and it's so damn un-American, and it makes me furious.
Well, it doesn't end for Christian, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Just because he gets out, it doesn't end. And you're right. If this bitch, excuse me, I don't mean to say it, but that's what she is.
She is a bitch.
If she's able to get off, then I will be upset. I think though there's a new sheriff in town, and he's proofing some of these people. And you know, I'm hoping that what happens here is he makes an example. Because you can't have people leaking to the media about sensitive information that has to do with other countries or has to do with our country. It doesn't matter if it's top secret information. You can't leak it.
No, exactly.
You know, I mean, to me,
it puts us at risk.
You get brought to the gallows for that. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
You do.
I don't want to go there, and I'm not saying that I would pull the cord for her to have that happen, but that's the way they used to deal with you.
Yeah.
Not that long ago.
No, exactly. And you know, some people are asking in the live feed what else was in the pictures that Chris Saucier took, they were of a 40-year-old submarine, and even President Trump said on the campaign trail, anybody that wanted the pictures would have had them by now. And I have to say, I'm 200% behind Donald Trump. I am, and I know you watch the show, Donald, and I really am respectfully behind you 200%. But sign the freaking pardon already. This family have been through enough. They really have.
No, but you know what, Xander, and if people are asking what are in the pictures, don't worry about what are in the pictures. You know what?
Yeah.
You know what should worry you? That we bring on Chinese diplomats and Russian diplomats, and you go down the laundry list, Saudi diplomats, we bring them on our submarines all the time. We bring them on our ships all the time. They take pictures of our military bases all the time, and they don't get this kind of treatment. Of course, you can't give them that type of treatment, but you don't think they're going on there, and you don't think they're pulling some 007 shit?
Of course they are. I have to stop for 1 second because I have to bring our guest on tonight, who is our Israeli correspondent. He is, of course, David Weissman, and he is live from Israel. He writes for the Reactionary Times, the Times of Israel, you name it, he writes for them. We're just gonna bring him on now. Let's hope he answers first time.
Bring him on, baby.
It's ringing, but he's not picking up. Where are you, David? Pick up the phone.
You better pick up.
Pick up the phone, David, or we'll be calling somebody else called David from Israel. Is your name David and you live in Israel? Send us your link on Facebook and we'll get you on instead. I am, of course, just joking. It's on. Hello, shalom.
Shalom, how are you?
I am good, thank you. You're live with myself and Chet Martin from Freedom on Deck. Welcome to the Sears and Amazon order line. How may we help you?
Well, first off, if you take off those damn clothes.
Exactly. So we'll come back to Comey because we want to get your opinion on it. I just want to get your levels right first of all. But you had quite a lot to say today about two American companies. One of them was Sears and one of them was Amazon. And I also saw the phrase anti-Semitism in, I believe it did anyway, in what you were writing about. So take a deep breath. Tell us a little bit about what was in the article and why they'd piss you off so much.
Sure, that's no problem. Sears and Amazon and even Walmart were selling merchandise, sweaters, shirts, phone rings saying "Free Palestine" and "End Israeli Occupation." And
wow.
What that means, especially with "End Israeli Occupation," is a subliminal message saying to kill Jews, kill Israelis, and they're supporting terrorism, and they keep having these items online. And so yeah, it was pretty pissed off about an article. Actually, it's in Israel's Voice, it's called the Call to Action. So we had all the companies' information, and we shared it everywhere. And had people call in, and we were successful with Sears. Sears actually dropped their
Good.
items off the shelf, but Amazon, that's a challenge. And I believe Walmart actually dropped it too. So right now we're trying to get Amazon to drop it.
So let me ask you, David, how, because I remember 10 years ago when Target, they gave money to Tom Emmer's campaign, who was anti-gay, so all the gays, stopped shopping at Target for 5 minutes, but it didn't last, and they were back in there mincing, buying their glasses and whatever else. How much power do you think the buying public has to influence companies of this ilk?
It's huge power. Encouraging people to support America's only true ally in the Middle East, that's a lot of people. So there'll be a lot of sales lost if they keep this up. We don't have to be Jewish or Israeli to boycott this. I feel a friend of Israel, a friend of the Jewish people is more than receiving military aid. It's standing up for what's right. It's standing up for your friend.
Absolutely. I agree. I agree 200%. Go on, Chet. Sorry, you were going to say something.
No, first of all, Dave, it's very hard to hear you right now, and I'm sorry for that, but I know the story that we're talking about. It's amazing to me that these companies and the Facebook feed just shut down for me, by the way. But
Kelsaprise.
yeah. Anyway, it's amazing to me that these companies can come out and blatantly disrespect the state of Israel. And what I want to know is, are the liberal Jews going to finally wake up and stop shopping at Sears and Kmart and all these distributors that support this? It's fine that they pulled it. Okay, they did. And that's good. I mean, that means that we made enough of a racket to get them to come to their senses, and that's all well and good. But are the liberal Jews going to finally wake up and smell the formaldehyde? You know what I mean? Smell the dirty bomb?
I know exactly what you mean, and the answer is no. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the liberal Jews actually bought the merchandise. That's how bad it is.
Unbelievable.
So
Xander, I can't hear him.
Yeah, we're having trouble hearing you, David. I don't know what the problem is. But if you could, I don't know if it's the microphone. Are you using headphones or?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
It's a little bit better. Let me just try and do something with this so that maybe. Okay. So let's carry on. So you said that Sears have removed all of these items from sale, but Amazon haven't. Has there been any kind of response from Amazon about this?
No response, from what I understand, or actually a couple other responses. One was saying that it was from a third-party vendor, which was actually baloney, because Sears was a third-party vendor, and Sears was able to take it down. So they're just making excuses to keep it up.
Right. Well, I definitely think that it's imperative, if you do shop on Amazon, take this into account when you're going to place an order, because I don't think in the United States we should be supporting any country that supports any level of anti-Semitism. Let's face it, we've got enough anti-Semites here. There was a big fight on Twitter yesterday with Linda Sarsour and Courtney Love from Hull, who basically told her, where to get off, and that she was, exploiting situations to her benefit. So, I'm glad that considering there are a lot of leftist liberal artists out there that are willing to defend all of this BS, but there are actually people out there that are still on the pulse that are willing to say, we're not going to have this.
Well, guys, I think it's really also important for everybody to do their homework, It's important to figure out who's behind it and who's not. Because it's not just Sears, and it's not just Kmart, and it's not just Amazon. You could go through a laundry list of companies that you're buying from, and even some of the phone companies, whether it's anti-Semitism or whether it's, pro-choice or anything that goes against your values of these companies that you may get your product from. And you have to do your homework because, it goes a lot deeper than just a few companies. It's worldwide. And, for us to have a real crackdown on this, we have to do our homework. Would you agree, Dave?
Absolutely. And you gotta know your stuff. You gotta know what you're talking about. You gotta know the history and the facts, because we can't argue with facts. I know that's something liberals don't like. They don't like that word. That is their F word, facts. So, if you show them the facts, it shuts them up.
David, I'm gonna cut you off and bring you back on because people are saying it sounds like you're talking into a coffee can. It was much better last week, so we'll try the call again. We're getting a lot of background noise from there, but we'll try once more. Just give us a second. The technology here is sometimes to blame, but apologies for you out there if you were having a problem hearing David. We're just gonna bring him back on now and see if we can get it better.
Oh.
Hi there.
Can you hear me now?
I can, but we're still getting some.
Now I can hear you.
We're still getting a bit of background noise. So, want to jump right in because of time. I want to jump right into today's debacle that was referred to as an investigation with regards to Comey. What was your interpretation of all of this today?
It was ridiculous nonsense. I mean, just like facts. There's no facts against Donald Trump, President Trump. So Democrats are trying to grasp the straws. They're trying to find something they can get at him. And of course, they're coming up empty. And this is a complete mess. And it's making the United States look like a joke. And we should see the Israeli commentary about it. It's a laughing stock. The Democrats are making the United States really look bad.
You mean the Democrats in America? We're having a lot of trouble hearing you, David. We might have to abandon this for tonight, but we'll try again for a little bit longer. I don't know what you're doing that's different from last week, but people in the feed are not being able to hear you very well.
Should I take off the headphones? See how that sounds?
Sorry?
Should I take off the headphones? Maybe that might help.
No, because then you'll hear our responses, and it will cause an echo.
Yeah, it's a little too much.
Yeah, it's a little too much. So, we'll try for a little bit longer, David. But I think we might have to abort this for tonight. So, what has the response been in Israel to all of this today? Has it been discussed? Has it been commented on by both liberal and conservative Jews on what has been the general response to this?
Yes, it's been commented on both sides, and both sides are having the same reactions I've seen in America.
David, we're going to have to... I'm sorry, David, we're going to have to stop you. We'll have to get this worked out for next week. But apologies to people out there. We're going to have to abort this interview and try and find out what the technical problem is. But thank you for joining us, even for the brief time, David, for joining us on tonight's show.
Okay. Sorry about the technical difficulties.
No problem. We'll hopefully sort that out. Thanks a lot. That was David Weissman. Don't know what problem we're having tonight, but we will look into it, and we will endeavor to sort it out for next week, because that was just not any good at all. It sounded like Charlie Brown's teacher a couple of times. No disrespect to David whatsoever.
No, of course not.
But David,
don't forget, he's calling from Israel. I mean, that's going to happen.
It does, but usually it's very good, even internationally, and it could be something to do with David's setup. But we'll look into that, and we'll find out what it is. I just want to check something very quickly, because I just put a feeler out there to ask who'd won the election, and apparently right now the Democrats are in the lead, the equivalent of the Democrats, which are called the Labour Party. But apparently there is a long way to go, because they count the votes through the night.
Well, I wanted to ask you, since he got off the line, and let's go into something different here real quick. Did you see Piers Morgan? He had the London Mayor Sadiq Khan.
I did.
And basically, he lambasted him, and he talked about Theresa May. He said, I'd rather not trust her to keep an angry wasp away from me, let alone a jihadist terrorist.
Right.
And then what he asked the London mayor was, where are all these terrorists that have come back in that were fighting for ISIS? The London mayor sits there for a second.
Yeah.
Has nothing to say. You know what? Xander, in my personal opinion, I never liked Piers Morgan. I'm starting to warm up to him, man, a little bit.
I've been starting to warm up to him for a while, and it's interesting. There's another journalist from the UK called Katie. It'll come to me. She was on Katie Hopkins. She was on Andrea Kay show the other day. And when I lived in the UK, this one was really outspoken. She doesn't like fat people. She doesn't like ugly kids and all of these things.
Right.
And,
yeah, I've heard you talk about it.
And whilst I don't agree with everything that comes out of her mouth, her commentary with regards to how badly the British authorities are protecting people is absolutely spot on. And she got fired from her radio gig for saying that basically, you know, they were more worried about being called Islamophobic than actually protecting the British people. And that's alarming. You know, Sadiq Khan's response was, I'm just one person. I can't keep an eye on everybody. Well, you're the freaking mayor of London, and if you can't utilize the police and what you have at hand in order to keep Americans safe, it's really not the job that you should be doing. But this guy has been open to a lot of commentary for him saying, oh, you know, I'm paraphrasing, but basically he said, oh, you know, it's something that we should get used to in big cities. Why should we get used to it? Why should we get used to being attacked by Islamic terrorists?
No, Xander, what he said was it's part and parcel of living terrorism is part and parcel to living in a big city.
Yeah.
And he said other controversial comments. I wonder who this guy's involved with. Some people have said the Muslim Brotherhood. I could believe that. I mean, does this guy really want to stop it? 23,000 on a terrorist watch list. They say they're not able to watch it. Then you better increase your police activities.
Right.
It was, you know, it's because of you guys that the police aren't armed. And then Theresa May comes and congratulates them. In 8 minutes, Xander, you know what? We have about 8 minutes to go on the show. Can you imagine what a terrorist can do in 8 minutes? Congratulate the police for coming and taking these guys down in 8 minutes. You can create a lot of havoc there.
Exactly. You know, the thing that concerns me is that, you know, I've lived in both places. I lived in England for 20 years. You know, my mom is British. I kind of have to point out a lot of the time for people that conservatism in the UK is nothing like conservatism in America. It is totally different. And this woman, Theresa May, basically, her ideologies are not going to protect the British people from terrorists, but what's equivalent to the Democrats, who are actually more like us, more like conservatives in America, which is totally, you know, the left is right, the right is left, and, you know, nobody knows what the frick is going on.
Driving on the other side of the road. Right?
It is, and they do that there too. Just imagine how difficult it was for my brain when I came back here and had to start driving on the other side of the road and calling things different names. But you know, they're always good and bad with whichever party is going to be in office. But if it means that you're kept safe, that should be a basic premise. Now, this woman said, if we have to take away the rights of every citizen in order to protect people, including the internet, then that's what we'll do. And I'm like, are you serious? Isn't this what Obama tried to do before he left?
It's funny. You know, I'm kind of like doing a countdown right now because where I said the 8 minutes started, now we're down to 8:53. From where I said that and you said your whole platform right there, there's only been a minute that's gone by. In a minute, think about that, folks.
Right.
Think about how they responded. They didn't get to these people to the end of this show. From here on in to the end of this show,
right.
Think about how long that really is. If you're getting attacked and stabbed and driven into, that's a hell of a lot of time, Xander. When you're under duress, minutes can seem like an eternity. And there has to be a fundamental changing over there, or they're going to lose their stuff. Period.
Exactly. I shared a video yesterday, I think it was, or maybe it was this morning. I'm not sure. I never sleep. Basically, of this guy that was in hospital. He'd been in this bar or a pub, as they call them in the UK, and some of these Islamic fundamentalists had come in and started cutting everybody up. And this guy got up and physically, I'm getting emotional because it's like you called Caitlyn Jenner a hero, and I want to spit. But this guy is a total hero because he fought these guys off with his bare hands. He got cut to pieces in the process. Don't you dare tell me that Caitlyn Jenner is a hero when this guy is lying in a hospital bed, with his arms and his body cut to ribbons, and he saved lives. And I just wonder how many people out there would actually have done that.
Well, I know I would have. I know you would have. But a lot of the liberals, they've been manipulated, Xander.
They totally have.
People came into this pub, and all they could do was throw bottles at these guys.
Yeah.
Throw bottles, and one gentleman fended off one of the attackers with a skateboard because they're not armed.
Yeah.
See, when your government takes your arms away, they are putting you in danger. Okay, folks? Luckily, we elected Donald J. Trump because guess what? If Hillary Clinton, by some chance, had gotten elected, first of all, she would have increased 550% of the refugees coming into this country.
Right.
And second of all, she would have tried to take your guns away from you. Now, you add that up, and we turn into Europe. We're 20 years behind them as far as what they've done in their country with these jihadists. They have no-go zones. They have these mosques that you can't enter. You know, they marry children over there, Xander.
Yeah.
They marry children over there. They do. It's a fact. And
it's a total concern. But you know, people are often surprised. You know, because when people find out I lived in England, they're like, "Oh, don't the cops have guns?" No, they don't. You know, they might have them at the airport, or if there's an event, or if they're protecting, you know, the prime minister. You know, oh God, they've got to have guns then. But there was no right to bear arms in the United Kingdom. You know, a few years ago, a farmer was in prison. Two guys broke into his house, and he got his shotgun down off the wall. It was mounted on the wall, you know, because he shoots stuff to eat. You know, as a lot of rural families do. He shot them in the legs, and even though they were trespassing, they sued him for assault. You know, England is crazy with regards to guns. It's never been part of their ideology, but maybe it needs to start to be. Because if you're under attack, if you're out on a Saturday night, let me give you an example. What that area was like being in, I don't know, Lower Manhattan on a Saturday night. That's what that was like, that area of London Bridge. And if you've got knife-wielding people that are coming towards you and all you can do is protect yourself with your arms, what chance do you have?
You have no chance. And you know what? The laws in New York, Connecticut, and our surrounding area, I mean, meaning me and you, I know a lot of people in the feed are not from this area, but
yeah,
we have no chance. It's sad.
We don't.
It's sad. I protect myself in my home, but I can't bring it outside of my home.
It's crazy. And you know, the interesting thing is that, you know, when you think about what happened on 9/11, you know, on those flights, and it makes me very emotional to think about it, but some of those people fought off those attackers. You know, some of those people on those planes fought to the death with those terrorists. And I'm just in awe. I'm going to make this the final point because we've got to stop. I'm just in awe that there are still Americans that still want to bash Donald Trump for wanting to keep us safe. If you want to live with refugees, then go and live with them.
Take them in. House them.
Yes.
Oh, I'm fine with you doing that, but keep them in your home. And
exactly.
Move out of the country and then house them.
Let's move them all to Chappaqua, to Hillary Clinton's mansion. We are out of time. Thanks to everyone who's made today's show possible. Thanks to our guest, David Weissman. Apologies for the technical difficulties. We'll hopefully have it sorted by next week. Or we will be replacing him with somebody else called David from Israel. I'm kidding, David. Don't worry. Please share the video right now. People have an aversion to sharing. Share the video right now, please. We don't want to see 10 shares, or our Chet and I are going to sing a share song. Thanks to my fabulous guest, co-host for tonight, Chet Martin from Freedom on Deck. Tell people where they can find you and where they can listen to your show.
Okay, well, go to freedomondeck.com. There you can do everything. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, the whole nine. You can email us if you want. Listen to us on 949newsnow.com. That's WJJF FM radio. And that's from 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And this week we're actually going to have Julio Rivera and Sadie Saucier, and they're going to be talking about Julio's petition to get an interview with Christian Saucier.
Right.
We're also going to have Tom Clavin, New York Times bestseller. We're going to have Dan Gatsby. He's a brain health advocate. We're going to have Pat Miller, the artist, and the list goes on. We have a lot of guests this week, Xander.
Absolutely.
So it's going to be a good one.
make sure you follow Freedom on Deck on Facebook and Twitter, and you'll be able to keep up to date with what is going on. I'm not trying to rush you off, buddy, but we were like a minute away from ending. Thank you so much for stepping into the breaches tonight, and I look forward to speaking to you very soon.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks a lot, buddy. That was Chet Martin from Freedom on Deck. Go and check them out at www.freedomondeck.com. Share the video, please. Everyone who shares the video this week and next week will be entered in a draw to win a free copy of the book, and also a copy of the album. So you can actually get something from sharing this week. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so. I'm sharing the links right now, so you can assist the show if you want to do that. We are so out of time. Stick around and join Joe Messina. His name escaped me on the real side. Get yourself over there now. Get a cup of tea and go and join them. We will be back with you tomorrow night with our usual Friday night crew. That would be Thomas S. Schmitz and Ty Paul Egar. Make sure you join us. Stay safe. Gotta go. Thanks, everybody. I love you all. Bye-bye. London has